some holding music here. Let me see what I've got. We're waiting for all of the streams to start. So let's put, can everybody hear that? We
Yes.
are waiting for YouTube. Come on, YouTube, there we can do it. Okay, come on, let's dance.
Welcome to Read My Lips Radio, a lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives.
Jordan,
Producer and
look at
host, aka Radio Red, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's aka Radio Red.
Radio Red in the house. Thank you to the voice of Ryan Treasure for getting me on the air. I am aka Radio Red. Call me what you want. Red will do. It's Monday. Where else would I be? I have to be here because I want to talk to creatives, people who write, people who think, people who draw, people who do whatever they do, create interesting lives. They are my creatives. And I have a very unusual show because I met them from 3 different venues. And this is unusual. Typically, as those of you who are my regular listeners and watchers and viewers know, it's always the National Publicity Summit. Amanda Christian is here. I met her with the new class from the PR Summit recently. Bob Gossom comes to me from a good friend and a colleague, Grace. Remind me, McCormick. She has so many names. She's changed her name. Bob is here. And Aspry Jones pitched me from podcastguest.com. And I was so impressed that I said, you gotta come on the show. So this is very unusual. So before I do my formal introductions, and I have a gift for each of you, I want you all to put up your hand in the shape of the letter L, please. I don't care which hand. Make the letter L. And on the count of 3, I want you all to say hello, L, L, L. Just like that. 1, 2, 3. Hello. L, L, L. Jordan Henson is my engineer for Voice America Media Empowerment. Jordan, put them in as tied for second place. That was pretty good, and we didn't even rehearse it. Bob, you can put the hand down. Thank you very much. LLL is lovely, lanky Laura Legs, our most loyal listener. She isn't feeling too well these days, but I want her to know I've been doing a shout out to her on the show for probably the past 10 years. So every day we open up every Monday with her. And let me see, what day is it now? It is November 10th as... Where is the year going? Honestly, I have no idea. I know, Amanda, it's just absolutely crazy. Let's see. I have some statistics here if I can find them. I've got 20 pages of notes here. Let's see where we are. November, by the way, is the month for harvest foods like cranberries, pumpkins, winter squash. You probably already know that. Sweet potatoes, carrots, parsnips, kale. I saw a recipe for kale salad. I'm not too interested in that. Okay, I'm going to get us started, and I want to tell you all that we don't have that many days left before it's time for the new year. So I want you to all think about what you're going to do, and if you need to start, here we go. It's the 314th day of the year. This is the Gregorian calendar is 2025. Aspry and Bob and Amanda, did you know that we used to have the Julian calendar, and Julian forgot about 10 days in the beginning of October. He just didn't. Amanda knows. I'm an early October girl, so I wouldn't have had a birthday. But along came Gregorian, and he said to his mom, I think this is before he became a pope, Aspry, he said, I want to fix the calendar. It's okay that Julian did this and it was around for hundreds of years, but so he created leap year with 1 extra day every 4th year, and now the people in October get their birthdays. I think that's very special. There's 51 days left to the year. It's time to start planning whatever you're going to do, eat or drink for New Year's. I'm telling you, if you're planning to make Kahlua in the garage, it's time to get all those flavors together because they need it. If you're planning to get Grandpa's still and make some what used to be bootleg whiskey on the side of the house, do it now. You don't just do it the day before. If you're planning to buy something special off the shelf in an online liquor store, wine store, the shelves will be empty very, very quickly. I'm telling you, I'm warning you. There are 51 days left in the year, and this is the 46th Monday, and I'm the only one who cares about that. Is anybody here a Scorpio? October 23rd to November 22nd. No Scorpios? Okay, well, shout out to the Scorpio. So let me start the show officially, and I have my special opening for all of you. So here we go. Welcome to the Creativity Show, where stories ignite. aka Radio Red on her Scarlett Mic, shining bright. I hope I am. I'll put some gloss on the lipstick. The quests of creativity take the stage today, where wonder and wisdom are lighting the way. Poet Bob Gossom, wave hello when I call you, with rhythm and grace. Aspry Jones, world builder in fiction space. And Amanda Christian, whose truths inspire, share journeys that spark their creative fire. With laughter and insight, imagination anew, a dazzling hour we're bringing to you. No pressure, guest, but this has to be dazzling because I already said it. So there you go. And now here comes the gift. Okay, Bob, you're first. From San Diego shore, where sea breezes play, Bob Gossom began life's lyrical sway. Son of a sailor and a dentist with professional grace, he learned early the rhythm of time and of place. Through coast-to-coast moves and cultures anew, Bob found that all hearts share the same hue. At 15 in Annapolis, a teacher's keen art lit Whitman's flame deep in Bob's heart. Between Algebra 2 studies and a classroom pain, Bob's first poem arrived, launching his life's train. Through film sets, tech halls, and fatherhood's span, poetry remained Bob's compass and drove his grand plan. Now his The Human Equation lets voices be heard. Bob gives life to the power of the word. Bob, I hope you enjoyed that.
Wow, that was wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. And Aspry, it's time for you now. From Asbury Park's rhythm to bright TV screens, Aspry dreamed in cinematic scenes. A storyteller, a runner, a coach's proud son, he learned that victory is more than just what's won. From algebra's gloom to English delight, Aspry chased words that shimmered with light. At the 96 Olympics, his broadcast took flight. Then CNN called. Aspry, this is CNN. His career rose bright. 8 years of headlines, tech, and drive. Then freelancing kept his spirit alive. But heroes of color were missing from lore. So Aspry wrote worlds no one had written before. Now protectors of the light crown reign supreme. Award-winning proof of Aspry's lifelong dream. Aspry, what'd you think?
Oh, are you single? What are you doing later?
We'll talk.
Guitar, my guy.
We'll talk, honey. We'll talk. I can't answer you right now, but yeah, stick around after the show. And Amanda, this is for you. From New Hampshire's calm to Florida's storm, Amanda learned strengths in every form. Through chaos and danger, she found her way, a survivor whose spirit refused to delay. At 15, she flew to Sweden's bright skies, where ideas took wing and debate made her wise. Back home, she worked hard, her future in sight. Through paint and persistence, Amanda claimed her light. From art school halls to banking's grand span, Amanda rose through the ranks, a global team's plan. From Russia to Greece, her stories expand. Now Maine holds her heart and a pen in her hand. Her book, The Skeptical Executive, brings heart and grace, guiding women's courage in the still male-dominated workplace. Amanda, I hope you enjoyed that.
I did. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'll finish this part now. From music and art to thrillers that gleam, each guest shares the pulse of a creative dream. Through words and ideas, their imagination runs free. The quest of creativity, now live streaming here with me. So gather round where the cool vibes and cool kids sway as we dive deep into creativity today. As akaRadioRed's energy lights the way, we hope to inspire you to live large, to love life, and to play. Yes, Aspry, I'm single. So, did you all enjoy the opening? What'd you think?
It was wonderful.
I am flabbergasted.
Go ahead. What, Aspry?
I said, I'm flabbergasted. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I started doing rhyming intros for my guests earlier this year, and I do it even on my technology show. And I have some several other venues I host and produce, and I do it for all my guests. And people seem to enjoy. It's a little bit different. So I'm very, very glad. And my collaborator is named Sylvie, and we speak French. And I'll tell you all who she is later. So now it's time to go around the table just briefly. Is there anything, oh my, that I left out of the intro about your entire life in 14 lines? I mean, in 14 lines, could I possibly leave anything out? Bob, I'm putting you on speaker view. Would you please fill us in if there's anything else you'd like us to know? And you can hold up a copy of your book if you want, 2 to 3 minutes, and then Aspry, and then Amanda, and then we'll go to the quote. So Bob, welcome. Go ahead.
Oh, it's great to be here. As you mentioned, I have a book, The Human Equation.
Hold it up again. It was too fast. Hold
yes.
up. Go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let us. That's okay. There you go. Okay, good.
And those are my legs. They come through.
Thank you.
I've been writing all my life, since 15, 16. It's something that I've never really had much choice in. I've had I've had 3 or 4 different professional lives, it feels like. None of them related to poetry, but throughout it all, I was writing. The book includes a poem I wrote when I was 18, and then poems from 50 years later. So that's where it comes from, and it's nice to see it out in the world.
Lovely. And how did you meet Grace McCormick? I've been working with her and featuring some of her clients for a couple of years now.
I did a lot of searching on the web to look for who I wanted to work with in promoting the book, and she came up, and I'm so glad I found her.
Yeah, she's an interesting lady, very, very smart and very energetic. And I'm glad
Wonderful
she
lady.
popped in and said, you got to have Bob on the show. And here you
Yeah.
are. So thank you. And shout out to Grace. She may be watching. We actually
hope
have some
so.
people watching us on.
Hi, Grace.
We have people watching us on YouTube. This is shocking. I'm sorry. I know. Aspry Jones, I'm so happy to meet you. Finally, you pitched me, and I said, what is it with this guy? He's got to come on the show. And I'm so glad. Here you are. Look at your smile. I'm putting you on speaker view. Why don't you fill in some blanks for us? Aspry, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'd love being here. Thank you for having me. I'm a lot like Bob on that one. I was published professionally when I was 16. I did a profile in the community newspaper about an awesome project that my honors English class was going through. My teacher, Ms. Donna Mitchell, spearheaded the whole thing. She hooked me up with the assignment, and I got the writing bug from 16 all the way on. I've written screenplays which weren't any good. I've written different stuff, poetry. I've been professionally published online. And somewhere along the line, I got it into my head to really make a commitment. Sometime after my real commitment was over with, I don't miss her. That's fine. I married the book. I ended up writing, and that was absolutely a commitment to write a book, and it blew my mind, and it fulfilled me, and I loved every minute of it. And I'm writing book 2 right now. I'm almost done. I should be done next week.
Wonderful. You want to hold up a copy of your book for us? You have
Here
it
we
there?
go.
Let's see.
Yes.
Hold it up now. Protectors. Oh, look at that pretty cover. Who designed your cover? Did you do it, or do you have an artist?
No, this is amazing. It's a wraparound cover too. I met a guy who was, I just ran into a guy after my original artist kind of bailed on me. I randomly went to a dog park with my dog, and I saw a guy there, and something told me. I was like, I'm supposed to be here for a reason. I'm sure of this. And we started talking, and we were randomly just having a conversation. I said, "You're a graphic artist, aren't you?" And he
What?
goes, "Yes, I am." And I said, "I need a graphic artist with an anime feel for my book cover. Can you show me some of your work?" He pulled out his phone. He showed me his work, anime stuff all over the place. And I hired him right on the spot. I
At
said,
the
"Thank you very
dog
much."
park.
At
At
the
the
dog
dog.
park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob, we need a poem about Aspry meeting his designer in the bar. I'm not sure if you do that kind of
I'll work
anecdotal.
on it.
Yeah, that's I'll write one for. I'm going to read one of my poems later on. Bob's going to do some reading for us too. Aspry, that's quite a story. I'm glad I asked. Amanda
Thank you.
Christian, welcome. I'm putting you on speaker view. Why don't you fill in some of the blanks for us, and welcome.
Some of the blanks for you. Well, let's say I've been writing for most of my life, like both of these gentlemen. I actually would write stories when I was younger, and I illustrated them. And it was in grade school. I was one of two people that asked to do a cover for it was some sort of, it wasn't a brochure, it was some sort of information packet or something for the school system. I didn't, they didn't choose my picture because it was too ferocious and realistic. Because at that time I was living in Florida. So what do you do in Florida? I did an alligator. And it was an open mouth alligator. And they thought it just wasn't appropriate for what I'm like, well, you didn't give me any guidelines of what you were looking for, you know?
I'm going to a full shot so I can see the smiles on you, everybody. Go ahead. Tell us a little more, Amanda. Go ahead.
So and literally being creativity was my saving grace because I was always drawing, always writing. It wasn't until I got later into school that I was turned off from writing. It was just, I don't want to blame the school system, but that's my thought anyway. It was just, nah, I'm not, I'll write papers and do what they ask me to, but I'm not going to write stories anymore. I'm not going to be creative in that way. But I've always found creative outlets. And whether it was like I've tried pottery, I've tried jewelry making, I've just done a variety of creative things. Been in the theater, attempted to sing, actually, much to the audience chagrin. I do not sing in public anymore after that. And it's just. If I don't have creativity in my life is really, because this happened to me when I was working in the corporate world, where I felt like I lost all my creativity.
It happens.
And so I've been really working hard to bring it back, and it's back full force. And hence, this is actually... my upcoming book, The Skeptical Executive, is actually the second book I wrote. The first book is on hold. So yeah, The Skeptical Executive. I don't have a book to show you because it's with the editor and it's due out. We're targeting end of January.
Well, congratulations on that in advance, and I'd love to get a copy of the ebook when you're ready. I come from corporate as well, and I'll tell you all my story later on. It would take too much time, but I understand. And I'll tell you that one time I tried to be creative by wearing interesting. I was working in a high-end corporate job at a major New York City bank downtown. Aspry will know which one it is, and down near Wall Street. And I used to take instead of just wearing a very expensive suit, I would wear a black and white checked jacket with little rhinestones embedded in the collar. And I'd take a scarf, and instead of putting, an Hermes scarf or something, I would put it in my hair and make a bow. And one day my manager took me into his office and he said, "You're not supposed to dress like that. We don't dress like that in corporate. And we're sending you for a dress for success class because you're not supposed to wear the scarf." And this was a man who couldn't keep his shirt tucked in. And he was always looking like he needed a pocket protector on his shirt. And he was always looking sloppy. But they sent him to tell me. So they sent me for a dress so I would dress more like the ladies wearing the $1,000 suits that were all navy blue. So anyway, I understand what trying to be creative. I was a marketing director, so of course I was creative, but I wasn't supposed to look at. Anyway, thank you all for the introductions. We learned so much from each other. Let's go to the part of the show where you each sent me, at my request, a quote from a fictional character in a movie or a TV show or a song lyric, and we have some real doozies today. So, Bob Gossom, am I pronouncing your name right, Gossom, correct?
Yes.
I want to make sure there were
Absolutely.
no special accent grubs or goose on the. I know
Nope.
they don't belong there. Bob has quoted Pee Wee Herman, played by Paul Rubens, from the comedy adventure comedy film Pee Wee's Big Adventure from 1985. I didn't know Tim Burton directed it. Wow, that was his feature film directing debut. And the screenplay is the story of Pee Wee's search for a stolen bicycle, and it's been compared to an Italian film from 1948 called Bicycle Thieves. It grossed $40 million in America. It became a cult film and continues to accumulate positive feedback. There were two sequels, and Tim Burton did so well on this, Bob, that Warner Brothers hired him to direct the 1989 film Batman based on his work on Pee Wee's film. And the quote is 5 words. I meant to do that. Okay, Bob, what does this have to do? I think everybody could
Well,
have used that quote. What does this mean to you? Go ahead.
well, it talks about the happy accident, partly that you sometimes when you are creative, you meant you think you're going in one direction and you end up in an entirely different one, maybe by accident, a stray thought, but oftentimes that is the spark that your idea needed, was that happy accident. And then also I think that our subconscious, our creative, the creativity inside us looks for ways to come out, and it meant to do that. So that's plus Pee Wee has been our whole household has been a fan of Pee Wee for a long time. And when I asked for a quote, whenever we do something that we didn't quite mean to do, they respond, "Oh, I meant to do that. I meant to break that glass." And so it's a common thing in our house. And
I like
I did meet Pee Wee very early in his career on a film set I was working on, and yeah, I think it was his first filmed time as Pee Wee Herman. And he was just charming and delightful, and I always had a warm place in my heart for him. So
Thank you. I
I was
like the
glad to
quote,
be
and it
successful.
could be something, something I
Yeah.
could see. I don't know who wants to do this with me. We could manufacture that in on a Aspry. We can get your artist to write that. I meant to do that and put it on
Yeah.
pillows and all kinds of and the backs of hoodies and tote bags. I meant to do that. What do you think? Do you think your
Yeah.
designer would want to? We could all
I think we
collaborate
might
on it.
get sued.
What's that?
I think we might get sued.
Well, we would put the quote and we would say Pee Wee Herman, we'd have
I
Right.
in
got
very, very small
Mhm.
print. It would be okay. Thank you, Bob. Wonderful quote. We're going to go to Aspry's quote. Aspry, I have two attributions for the quote you sent. One is going to surprise you. The quote was first spoken by General Jan or Jan Dodonna, played by the actor Alex McCrindle in Star Wars Episode IV-4, A New Hope, 1977 epic space. I've researched this, trust me. Later by Obi-Wan Kenobi, played by Alec Guinness. Of course, the movie is written and directed by George Lucas, distributed by 20th Century and Lucasfilm. The first film in the Star Wars series, the fourth chronological chapter of the Skywalker saga. The Jedi Master is usually attributed to Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he did use the phrase throughout his life to wish an individual or a group good luck or goodwill. The Force, and the quote, of course, is, "May the Force be with you." So, Aspry, why don't you tell us what this has to do with your creativity? Go ahead.
Oh, well, being a movie nerd from way back, I had to rifle through my storage bank of quotables and roads where we're going. We don't need roads, and we'll always have Paris. Just didn't apply. So I stuck with "May the Force be with you" because as a very spiritual person, um, I wouldn't call I'm a student of theology, but I wouldn't call myself particularly religious, but I am a very spiritual person. And I think, I believe wholeheartedly that George Lucas was tapping into that when he did this whole Force thing. I think that's where he was going with it. I think that's what he was thinking about. And I'm not saying that there are real Jedis in the world or anything like that. Otherwise, I would have had a lightsaber by now and probably killed myself. But
No, no.
by accident, of course. You
Okay.
do the best you can. And I just think that the force itself is what guides us. It's what propels us through this world, and we just call it something else.
Thank you. Very well put. Very, very
Thank you.
tenderly stated. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay, and let's go on to Amanda's quote. And we've got a quote from U2. Not me too. U2, the Irish rock band on their 1997 album Pop, P-O-P. And the song is Staring at the Sun. It's the fifth track on the album. It's the album's second single. It peaked at #3 on the UK singles chart, #1 in Canada and Iceland. Number 26 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. What's the matter with us? And in the U.S., but it did make #1 on the Billboard Modern Tracks and the AAA chart. It's included in here. It's taken from an album titled by the Irish band Something Happens, who happen to be good friends with U2. Did you know that? They took the, yes, you know that. A new mix of the song Staring at the Sun was in the compilation The Best of 1990 to 2000, and it was compared to the work of Oasis. And interesting, the single has a logo in gold of a kaleidoscope. Interesting. It was distributed to promote the single. Here's the line Amanda has selected. I'm not the only one staring at the sun, afraid of what you'd find if you took a look inside. Oh, that's deep, Amanda. Briefly, what does this have to do with your creativity? Can't wait for this one.
What
Go.
does that have to do with my creativity? Well, number one, it was very hard to come up with a quote because there's so many, right?
Yep.
And so I was thinking along, just my life and whatnot. And it's a line that I always come back to. Number one, I have to say I'm a huge YouTube fan. So, of course, I had to do something by YouTube, but I wanted to do something different. So this stuck out for me because I would, when I was real little in New Hampshire, we lived in the middle of an apple orchard. And I would go out and I would climb the trees and just stare not so much at the sun, but at the clouds. And I would just make up my own worlds. And that was like my first uneducated sojourn into being creative. So that line to me kind of brings me back to that time when I would climb to the tip top of the apple tree. My mother always dressed me in red because at the time I didn't really hear very well because I had chronic sinus and ear infection, so everything was blocked. And so she dressed me in red so she could trace me in the orchards and find me.
That was early GPS, Amanda.
It was.
Dress your kid in red so you can see them. Very, very interesting. That was very creative on your mom's part. Thank you all for the quotes. I always get a kick out of what guests offer for their quotes, and I have a collection. If you're ever looking for a collection of movie quotes, song quotes, I collect the more interesting ones, and I have about 100 from movies and songs with just a little bit on the attribution. So I'll put some of these in. Was it Aspry who said, "Where we're going, we don't need roads"? A lot of people use that on my technology show. And the other one that's very popular is I feel the need for speed, which a lot of people don't realize. Both Maverick and the character that Anthony Edwards played, both said each part of that. That was a two-part quote. It wasn't all Tom Cruise's character. So, and what's it? We're going to need a bigger boat. You know the quote from Jaws? Do you know where that do you know where that came from? You know where that came from? The producers were cheap, and they had a very small boat that was carrying the craft, that's the food and all of that, and everything they needed, the props and everything. And anytime there was a wave in the water, everything would rock around. So at one point, Roy Scheider said, "Yeah, we're going to need a bigger boat." And then everybody started saying it. Well, he actually said it when they were shooting the film. It was not in the script. We're going to need a bigger boat. And when it came down to the final editing, there was a female editor, Ellen something, Amanda, I can't remember her last name. I don't know why I'm telling you that. But she said, "I'm leaving that in the movie." It was something like the number 14th most famous quote ever in any movie made in the United States and in the world. And it was just because they were saying, "You're going to need a bigger boat," because the boat was crap. And the producers, and there was a name. This was in the Hollywood Reporter. There was an actually article on this. Interesting. So I collect all this stuff that nobody really wants to hear, but it's fun to know. So thank you for the quotes. Let's go to the creativity statements. I'm starting off with one from you, Bob. I think this is going to resonate not just with you because you wrote it, but with Aspry and with Amanda as well. So we'll do a roundtable on this and see what people think. Here's the statement. This is number one that Bob sent. He says, I'm quoting, "Whether I'm writing a performance piece, crafting a poem, or solving a complex tech problem, it's the same creative muscle. Tuning in, staying curious, pushing past the obvious. I've written poems at my desk, sitting on a rock in the mountains, even dictating into my phone while driving once. It's a mysterious beast. You need to be ready to listen and write when it chooses to speak through you." Bob, this is like a master class, this statement, a master class in writing and creativity. Thank you. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So why don't you take it apart a little bit for us? And I'd love to hear also what our other two guests have to say. So Bob, go ahead and deconstruct this for me, please.
Well, creativity is a mysterious beast. We don't know where it comes from. We don't know when it's going to strike us. I think over the years, we kind of learn how to cultivate it and feel it when it's coming. But as I said in the quote, for me, I tend to think about my poems sometimes for years before I actually write them. And I think about I align the thoughts and the images or whatever, but there's always then a moment when it just starts to happen. And I remember I read a quote, and I don't remember who it was. It was a famous poet who talked about when she was a country girl, she'd be out in the fields and she'd feel a poem come by, driving towards her, and she'd run home to try to get to her notepad so she could write it down. And sometimes she didn't make it, and she just said, well, someone else will get that one. So I want to be the one that gets it. So you have to be ready. Sometimes you start too soon. You think it's ready, and you start writing, and it just isn't working, and you have to put it aside and wait. So that's how I approach it. It works well for poetry, maybe not so well for a novelist who has to punch it out
I think it
every
works
day.
for everything. I've never heard that thought. It whizzes by you, and if you don't catch it or it's not for you, it'll go to somebody else. That's a very
I like that image. Yeah.
I like that. Aspry, anything in that, or Amanda, that resonates with you about being ready to catch those thoughts and being able to go past the obvious? Aspry, does this talk to you in any way?
I would like to vibe with that actually, but I've never had to deal with having to put it aside because I just wasn't ready for it, or it wasn't ready for me. I'm blessed in that I can just fly, and I can get it out. I've never had writer's block. I've never questioned where I was in the story. I'm just so lucky that way. When I sit down and write, it just falls right out of my head.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Amanda, how about you? Amanda, you're writing a nonfiction book, but does this resonate with you as well?
Oh, it definitely resonates because I feel that if you get an idea, whether it's creative or not, just an idea in general, if you don't act on it, a lot of times it'll move on and go to someone else. So, for example, what I mean by that is like, say you get an idea, let's use Post-it notes. You get an idea for these notes that stick together that people can stick up on things, right? But you don't act on that idea, then it goes on to someone else. And how much did the guy that created Post-it notes? How much has he made, or his family's now made? It's unbelievable. So it's like, if you don't accept what's given, it's almost like if you don't accept what's given to you or presented to you, it will move on to someone that says, yes, I'm ready for this.
So you're saying get that butterfly net or that apple catcher net
Yes.
out of it. Bob, how many ideas do you think have flown by that you haven't seized upon? Has that happened? Are you aware of it?
Uh, there are a few dreams I've had. You wake up in the middle of the night with a wonderful line or a wonderful thought, and you say, I'll remember that in the morning.
Oh,
And
that's
of course
another
you
story. That's another
don't.
story.
Of
Yeah, it's
course you
called keep
don't.
that. I used to keep
But now we
paper.
have phones by our beds, and we can
Yeah,
grab it. And I have dictated a few lines
yeah,
in the middle of the night.
in the middle of the night. I used to keep
I never thought about that, what Amanda just said, but I agree 100%.
Yeah, I used to keep note paper and pad and pen back in the day when I was in, I think, junior high school and I was taking advanced math, and I couldn't solve a problem before I went to bed, no matter how hard I tried. And sometimes I'd wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning and I'd have the answer, and I would write it down. And it was an odd feeling that it was still running around up here. But what I want to tell you all was that on what Bob commented, I about 10 years ago, I decided I wanted to write a romantic comedy play, and I had no idea how to do it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I was going to write. I just had this idea. So I went online and I said, "How do you write a play?" And somebody had a playwriting 101, and it was a downloadable document, and it was free. And I took it and I put it into a Word document, and it told me what font to use, how the spacing should be. It told me how to set up what the scene was when the curtain opened, how to briefly describe each character, how to do the action, how to change the dialogue, how to close a scene and go to the next act. And I proceeded to write a play in 3 nights from 1 to 4 in the morning while I was working full time. Didn't get much sleep that week. And I liked it so much that I had my TV show on Long Island, Aspry, and I knew people who were in community theater who were doing a lot of plays. That wasn't their job. They weren't professional. They weren't being paid. I think the theater group was making some money at the ticket, when they sold tickets. But I went to my friends and I said, I tell you what, you don't have to memorize lines. I'll put up teleprompters for each of the 3, 4 actors in the play. We'll do it on green screen. You don't have to go anywhere. We'll bring in all the background video and images and everything. You're just going to sit on a bench in an empty studio with a green curtain behind you, and I will have the teleprompter slowly going in front of you. You'll know the lines. I'll work with you. I'll coach you on the attitude, the accents. We'll talk about what you're going to wear. And we produced it in my TV studio. And then my friend George, who just passed away 2 weeks ago, was my editor. We worked till a lot of 4 in the mornings here. We worked till 4 in the morning, cutting it down from about an hour of recorded material to 26, 27 minutes, because I had a 30-minute TV show, which had PSAs in it. So I had to have it down to about 27 minutes. And I can send you all the link if you'd like to see it. It's called Hail, Hail.
Sure.
As in
Yeah,
Hail, Hail, the
please.
gang's all here. And I was so happy with it. But to your point, all of you, the characters told me who they were, what they looked like, what they thought like, how they sounded, what their moods were, what their attitudes were, what their goals were. And they just told me. And Aspry, it just poured through me. Bob, it just channeled through me. Amanda, it just came right through me, and I just sat there. I was just a vehicle. I was just, boop, 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 and we're not getting spiritual here, but it was just, boop, 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 boop. As fast as I could write it, they were talking to me. I knew what they had eaten. I knew what she was wearing. I knew what her purse looked like. I knew what his attitude looked like. I knew who got they met through a dating site that was all numbers, and they had to wear a Groucho Marx nose, fake nose, and glasses and meet in front of Penn Station. And we got footage of a crowd in front of Penn Station, and we put them on top of that video. So it was right. I'll send it to you anyway. So I understand that. It's when it's there, it's there. Thank you, Bob. Aspry, I'm going to combine your statements number 2, 3, and 4. I think these are interesting. Aspry says, I write every day until the story is told. He says, I usually write on my bed. I write chapters in a notebook by hand. This is interesting. Aspry, unpack that for us, please. Set the scene.
I'm sorry, you lost me at advanced math. Like I'm still thinking about reading the teleprompter and getting my last poor Uric.
You're adorable. Yes, I am single. That's where you got me. Do you want me to repeat the 3 sentences, or you got them?
No, I'm with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm as old school as it gets, I guess. I try as I might. I tried to figure out how to format my book for KDP and Ingram Spark, and I just couldn't figure it out. And I call myself a reasonably smart guy, so I had to hire people to do it. So there are some things that I'm very old school about, and some things I'm tech savvy about. But when it comes to writing, I just have to, it's a pen and it's a pad. And I initially started the book. The idea was to type it out on my laptop computer. And one night, I got up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I stepped on the laptop computer and busted the screen. And I was like, "Oh boy, that was like $1,500." So I guess I'm going to the drugstore, and I'm getting a stack of notebooks and some pens, and I'm gonna write the story that way. And it actually felt better. Yeah.
I had to
Okay.
do that for you. I'm sorry. I like my sound
Nicely
effects. Go
done.
ahead. Go ahead.
So
Wow.
yeah, that's how. And it took me 10 years to write the book. Um, it didn't have to take 10 years. Life gets in the way sometimes and things happen. But now, I didn't think I was able to do it. Some people can write books and shell them out. And I was like, yeah, I'll never be able to do that. I guess I'm just not that kind of guy, especially not with a pen and a pen. And I started book two, the sequel to Protectors of the Light Crown, in June, and I'll be done next month. And we're talking like 500 some pages before editing. And I'm just as astounded as everybody else. I had no idea I had it in me, and it's actually a better book than the first one.
You're in the zone.
I am in the zone, flow
You're in the
state.
zone. That's a beautiful thing. I want to quickly get comments from Amanda and Bob. Anything resonated? Do either of you ever just use? Not did you break a
I want to
screen,
know
but
what kind of pen. I want to know what kind of pen you use.
he's going to show you.
Here you go. It's right here.
All right. All right. I figured if you're handwriting, you have an instrument.
They're cheap and they get the. This is my expensive pen, and it would cost too much to get refilled. So I used the cheap one.
Okay.
Why not? Do you use pen and paper, Bob, at all when you're writing? When you do
I for the first 30, 40 years of writing, I did, but like everybody, at a certain point, I transitioned more to the keyboard, and it was strange. It took me maybe 10 years to fully transition. But I do most. I'm a good typist, so I can. My fingers go. My mind thinks. My fingers go. So I do most of my writing on the computer, but I keep a pen and paper with me for when I need them.
when you need them? Amanda, ever do pen and paper, pencil and paper?
I do pen and paper, pencil and paper, crayons and paper. Um, I do it all. Crayons is usually like when I want to get in touch with my inner child. So I'll write with my actually non-dominant hand. Like if I have a block or something. What are you holding up?
I'm holding up. I recently invested in pens, all kinds of pens and markers in case I want to doodle or write something down. I keep Post-its next. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I had to show you. Aspry, this was for you and for Bob. So I have all kinds of pens, and they're not expensive, but they're really, 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 really fun, and they're different colors, and they make me happy. So go ahead, Amanda. Continue, please.
So where was I?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But you
but
know
I
what,
want to
Amanda?
go back to
I was gonna-
Aspry.
Go to Aspry. Go ahead.
Is, you were talking about being, I think you used in the flow, was it?
I said he was in the zone. That was my
He
comment.
was in the zone. Okay,
Said
I
in the
use
zone,
it
and I use
as
the term flow state.
flow state. So that's what I use. I remember there were times when I was painting in my studio. I would go for like 2 days straight, just painting.
Yep.
Just it might just have been one painting. It could have been more than one painting. It just because at that time I was doing really large paintings, so they're like 5 feet by 5 feet.
Wow.
Yes. And I just remember being in the flow. And for me, being in the flow in that instance, I never got hungry. I never got thirsty. I didn't even have to use the restroom.
Whoa,
I was just in it as long
that's
as the music
that's
was
no
going.
flow, honey. That's no
That's
flow.
no flow. Yes.
I used to do stand up. Now I just try to be funny
Mhm.
sitting down. Amanda, I'm going to quickly go to your three creativity statements. I'm combining the
Okay.
three, and I know that Bob and Aspry will appreciate these. You say I'm most creative at home, usually with music playing and dancing around. Number one.
Hmm.
Number two is I get aspirations in my life from other people, news stories, the sky, animals, pretty much anything will inspire me. And then you say influences on my creativity include my grandfather, my art instructors in college, my friends, and the world at large. So you've got a big
Hmm.
zone of view of inspiration. So why don't you
Hmm.
nail this down to about 2 minutes and tell us what kind of music
Yeah.
do you play, and are you can't dance and write at the same time. If you can, that's quite amazing. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I haven't learned that trick yet.
No.
To dance and write at the same time, especially with the way I dance. Especially if I'm trying to get like my energy up. I'm like a old punk rocker. And so, I'm there with the Ramones and whatnot, just kind of banging it away, dancing. But and then I'll go into a flowy type thing, because I love all sorts of music, except maybe certain operas.
Mm.
But yeah, so music, just kind of sets the tone for my life, I think. And as far as inspirations, I the other day, well, not the other day, last month, I was out on my front like entryway, and for some reason we had a lot of caterpillars this year.
Ooh.
And so they were absolutely gorgeous. They
Mm.
were like white and they were about yay big, long, and they were white. They're actually moths because I looked them up. They turn into moths, but they were like this brilliant white. And some would have these long, like they looked like antennas,
Mm-hmm.
but they were just long hair sticking up, like probably something out of Asbury's book. Um, just these, it was just so fascinating to look at the different forms and colorations that they had because not one was the same. And it was just so it's things like can be as small as that, or it could be, I did a drawing a while back. I had gone to Baja, Mexico, and I called it babysitting the gray whales, the baby gray whales. And I'm very much into animals, have been my whole life. But when you look into a gray whale's eyes, you see so much wisdom and just ancient, I mean, just this like what came across to me was like this ancient knowledge in this big, beautiful, not necessarily quite beautiful, the
Mm.
beast, uh, but it was just shocking. It was because I've looked at an elephant's eyes and have gotten the same kind of feeling, but not as powerful as the whales, which goes back to I think it was a Star Trek movie with Dr. Spock. Remember the whales,
Aspie
and they
does.
had to kidnap the whales from current day and take them into the future to help prevent the destruction of the Earth.
That's why I
And
do a round table, kids,
like,
instead of interviews, so you can all react to each other. Amanda,
I
Amanda,
remember it.
wrap it up
Yeah.
because we have
okay,
more to do.
I'll
But go
wrap it
ahead,
up
wrap it
there.
up. Go ahead. Oh no, just
Uh,
finish your thought. Finish your thought.
so it just and it took me to that movie with the whales, which that was like my most favorite Star Trek movie
Mhm.
because of the environmentalism in it.
Thank you. Very, very interesting. Just a quick around the table. Asprey, do you ever play music when you're writing? Yes or no? And if yes, what do you play?
The answer is yes. I'm no stranger to Japanese Zen garden music, especially not especially during marathon meditation sessions. So I tend to do that, or classical music. piano, classical piano, or violin. I just can't deal with lyrics, something with no lyrics.
Interesting. Bob, music when you're writing?
Nope. I have to find the rhythm in the words and the rhythm of the music. I do virtually everything else in my life to music, but when I write, it has to be quiet.
Bob, rumor has it you'd like to share a poem with us. Would you like to read one now?
Sure, I
Go ahead.
will.
Go
And
ahead.
I had a couple ready, and I decided to go with this one because
Okay.
we all are picking up on a little bit of energy in this tonight between
Oh, yeah.
you and Aspry.
Yeah.
Aspry. So this is dedicated to the two of you.
Wait, two of who? Whom? Me?
You and Aspry.
Oh,
You know,
I'm not
maybe
so
there's a little romance
wait a
in it.
minute. This is not an adult show here. So,
Well,
Stupid
this is a
terrible.
PG. This is a PG poem.
okay.
The
I'm going to
second
give you
line
an
is the
review
only
so
one.
the audience can't see if I'm,
Your
yes, what?
okay, if you're ready.
Go ahead.
So,
I'm ready.
Your
Go.
shoes sit neatly outside the tent. Your blouse is in the trees. Other things seem strewn about, but are arranged exquisitely. The water you left by the fire is waiting, warm for me. I wash slowly, splashing loud. You hear that I am pleased. I stretch and sigh, delaying just to tease. Through the tent flap, your hair is all I see. Emerging from the shadows, you bring me to my knees.
Aspry? Yeah. Let me see if I can get an applause track here. Let's do this.
There you go.
So we'll dedicate that to
Oops,
Roman.
No. We're not going to do that one. We just wanted the applause. Bob, that was lovely. We have time for you to read one more if you have another short one. Would you like to read one more?
I do.
Not
This one's a little
X-rated.
more-
Not X-rated.
Not X-rated. No.
Yeah, keep the
This
blouse
one's
on.
more
Yeah.
contemplative.
I'm trying. It's a dress. It's easier to keep. Go ahead, Bob.
In the quiet of the night, I find you sleeping, cascade across the pillows, our evening fight. I had a dream of stillness, awoke with fright. Awake, I dream of movement in the quiet of the night.
Mm. 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 Brief and to the point. Are most of your poems at that level of succinctness? I'm going to use that, or do you have?
No, I picked a few shorter ones
I
out.
figured.
for-
I would
for
like
this.
to share. I belong to an online poetry group, and we're right now in November. In November and April, we get a prompt every single day around 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't get up that early from the moderator, and I write 3 to 5 poems a day, and I'm usually the class clown. I like to write humorous poems, but acrostic and limericks and disappearing nines and those types of. I like some formats and I like free form. But I have a poem I read here on this show toward the end of the show. We got about 3 minutes left, and I'd like to share this with the three of you. I think you'll appreciate it. The prompt was write a night shift poem, and I wrote an acrostic. So I'll lean in when I'm hitting the letters NIGHTSHIFT. This was written on Wednesday, July 24th, 2024. When it's not November and April, we have a prompt every Wednesday. So I've written about 700 poems so far, and I haven't published them, Bob. But I do have a little chapbook that's called 30 Poems Hath April, and that was from April 2023. And I'd be happy to send that to you if you'd like to see it. So it's just a PDF. So
Absolutely.
here we go. Here's my poem. Never quite really at rest. It's the life of a creative. Going, gripping, gyrating, growling, groaning, growing, highs and lows, flowing on a mental Mobius strip. The days are the nights are the days again, shifting off and on, into and out of gear, hoping for unique brilliance even once. It's a calling, command, curse, roller coaster, finding eureka, euphoria amid frustration, fears. Thus is the life of the creative. What'd you think?
Excellent way to go out.
Very
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you. Thank you. I dedicate that to my creatives, not everybody on the show, but and by the way, I have a little snippet here of a quote from David Byrne. You all know David Byrne from, you know who he is, Talking Heads. And he did an interview on Stephen Johnson's How Ideas Happen podcast. This was a couple of years ago. And I found it and I wrote the notes down, but I think you'll all appreciate this. He says, our minds fizz with fragments of ideas, puzzles to ponder, clues on how to fix a problem. Most of us undervalue that chatter. Writers and artists systematically capture those little beginnings. True? That's what he says. When he was saying he has a snippet of a song, of a title, something without music to go with it, or without a lyric, without a title to go with it. He captures them somewhere. He writes them down, Aspry, maybe with a nice pen on a piece of paper, and then he goes back and looks at them and says, there might be something here, so that, Amanda, they don't go the way of into somebody else's mind. So I'm going to close us out here. We've got about a minute and a half, but I'd like you all to stick around afterwards and we'll talk a little bit more. I hope you've enjoyed this because I think you're all absolutely delightful and brilliant. And I'm so happy to meet the three of you. And as I said at the beginning, it's very rare for me to have guests come to me from three completely different sources, all come together and see, you're all best friends now. That's what happens on my show. So let me read my closing and stick around. And here we go. In 2014, I closed the shows, Amanda, with the top 10 tips for women. And the number one tip, this is 2014, is aspire to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. And this was 10 years before the movie came out. So there you go. Okay. And the other one was, one of them is if the shoe fits, buy one in every color. I've done that once. Okay. Here's the real closing. Life is short. Break the rules. I think we all do. Forgive quickly. I'm still trying to learn that one, Aspry. I don't forgive quickly. Kiss slowly. Yes. Love truly. Please. Laugh uncontrollably. Laugh with me, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Not bad, not bad. And never regret anything that made you smile. Final words. Work like you don't need the money. Dance like no one's watching. When I was teaching disco in high heels and I walked into a cafeteria with 250 students and they made me dance on top of a Formica table in a cafeteria, I said, build me a damn wooden stage. OSHA was not looking and I didn't fall, but boy, was everybody watching. What legs I had. Sing like nobody's listening, Amanda. Sometimes I can't help it and I just sing. Love like you've never been hurt. We all have. Let your heart regrow, regroup, rejuvenate, and love again. Money talks. Chocolate sings. La! And last but not least, I stole this line from somebody years ago. Thank you for turning me on. I want to say goodbye to we're going to play some outro music here. Jordan, our engineer for the Voice America Media Empowerment Channel. Thank you very much. I'm going to close.
On Read My Lips Radio, producer and host, aka Radio Red, invites you to eavesdrop on her live, unscripted conversations with smart, savvy, creative people as she discovers what makes them tick, where they find their inspiration, when creativity first became their passion, and how their creative process can inspire the rest of us to think out of the box. Enjoy aka Radio Red's always lively, cool conversations with creatives. Oh, how those lips can talk.
Thank you very much. Let's wave goodbye, everybody.